Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts Kinnikuman RAMENMAN figure, which is a very interesting character design. At least the head. The rest of the body is fairly standard, but it's a rather cool design, I guess. It's definitely unique. But it's a really cool looking figure, though it does have a few issues that we'll have to talk about. It's pretty basic. Most of the Kinnikuman figures are fairly basic figures with just a couple of hands and heads, and that's about it. Not much going on, but they all seem to be executed fairly well, especially these later issues. So I'm generally very happy with it, but there are some things to talk about. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 6 1/4 inches tall, not counting his hair, which makes him just under 16 centimeters. And I don't know what it is, but he's generally aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. Maybe it won't be to you, but I think what it is the paintwork. It's almost all flat, except for the metallic parts, which are metallic, but it's flat and there is shading throughout, and it looks really nice. I don't know about you guys, but I always appreciate it when a figure has flat paintwork. It just kind of gives him a little bit of a more quality feel, and I like that. And this guy's almost completely flat or matte, so that's pretty cool. The paintwork is clean on him. The shading could be a little bit better. It's a little iffy in terms of both the color and the placement. Like in the torso, it's a little all over the place, but around the arms it's not too bad. The pants don't really see too much shading, but one issue I do have is that the top part of the pants right here is a brighter red than the molded part down here, so it definitely could be better, but it's not bad. And you could even argue, and maybe it's supposed to be even a different color as like a belt or something. I don't know. I've never watched the show or read the manga. I'm assuming there's manga. So otherwise it's pretty good. I mean, you have a lot of nice clean paintwork up here on the shoulder, and the face is done nicely, so generally it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Now before we get into the figure anymore, let's talk about accessories. We have a total of 4 interchangeable heads. The one standard head where he's just got his mouth closed and his eyes closed. One where his eyes are closed and his mouth is open. One where his eyes are open, his mouth is open, and he's sweating. And then one with weird face paint and no mouth at all. And the hair piece is interchangeable on all of those, and it is connected on a ball peg. But this one is pretty much stuck. I can wiggle it around a little bit, but I can't seem to pull it out or to actually rotate it. And since it's not my figure, I'm borrowing this from a friend, I can't really mess with it too much. But this should be posable and interchangeable, and I cannot do either of those things, so be aware of that. In terms of hands, we have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package, and then 4 total hands of the open or gripping hands with the hinge in them. They're basically the same, except one has the thumb pointed forward just a little bit more, so you can use that for gripping a little bit. And then lastly, we have a shoulder pad piece, which is for Buffalo Man, which is kind of cool. I guess this guy and Buffalo Man team up at some point, so you have the shoulder pad, which matches the one on this guy, which is pretty cool. Now, as far as articulation goes, it's pretty much the same as all the other Kinnikuman figures, but we'll go over it anyway. We have a double ball peg for the head and then a ball peg for the neck, so you can move it around very well. It's very easy to pose the head, so that's pretty cool. For the shoulders, we have the butterfly joint, which allows the arm to come forward more. It would have been cool if they continued the straps on this part of the butterfly like they did up here. You can see that's in there, but it functions well enough. You can bring the arm out pretty far and get it across the chest, and it still looks pretty good, so I like that. And then of course you do have your ball hinge for the shoulder, but the shoulder pad will be in the way. It's a floating piece technically, but it doesn't move all that much. So you're not going to get the arm up too much directly to the side, but it does rotate around, and you do have your bicep swivel up there. So it works pretty well. It's not great, but it works well enough. You have your double jointed elbow, which works very nicely, and it does have that rotation in there. If you will need to do that, you can do that. And then you have your ball hinge for the wrist, which functions very nicely. And it's a nice big ball hinge, so it doesn't stand out as making the wrist look very goofy. You have I think it's a double ball peg. It could be a hinge and a ball peg in the torso. I don't know for sure, but he leans side to side, he rotates, leans forward and back. Really good range. And then you have another ball peg at the lower torso, which does allow even better range. Now this is technically just a floating piece with the actual articulation underneath, but it doesn't really move that way and doesn't feel that way. In fact, it's possible they didn't make him the same as the other ones, and this is not a floating piece. It feels like it, but I can't be 100% sure. It feels like it though. And then for the hips, you have your standard hinged ball peg, so you can drop the hip down to move it a little bit better. And then you just have your ball socket, and then you actually have another ball peg where this socket piece connects to the thigh rather than just a swivel. It gives you a little bit of extra range to move the legs like that if you want to, or something like that. And you do have your thigh swivel out of that, so that's pretty good. And you can bring the legs up pretty far. and then you can actually rotate them on the thigh to keep them pretty well squared up. So pretty good range. I like the hips on this guy, and he can do pretty much the full splits, so that's really good. The knees, not the best design in the world. It's very ugly, in fact. Luckily, it's at least bulky enough to kind of hide it, but then you also have two different shades of bread for the knee joint, which is definitely not attractive. So it's really not great. You can rotate it a little bit, but it doesn't work that well. So the knees are not very good. They're almost like really bulky, ugly versions of Figma's already fairly ugly knees. For the ankles, we have the rotation just below the pants, so that gives you your full ankle rocker once you rotate it around. So that's really nice. And then, of course, because of that, you also have your hinge in here. And it's really good. I like the ankles on this guy. So ultimately, it's a really solid figure. Not perfect, but if you're into this line of figures or just this kind of character, then I definitely recommend it. It's a really solid one, and it functions very well for the most part. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Turn on the little notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.